Being happily married. This is such a popular topic. Love songs are written about love and marriage. Books are written, and so much has been said about marriage, how to stay married, how to stay happily married, who to believe, what to think. And I'm here to share with you 6 amazing and powerful ideas on how to stay married happily, and how to be happy being the wife you are in your marriage. And even if you're doubting your marriage, if you think you should get divorced, if you think you're not with a compatible husband, do not worry. This video is going to help you understand how to be a happily married wife, and if this is for you. So just a side point, this video is for healthy marriages, no abuse in the marriage, marriages where it's normal, you know, fights, arguments, normal, nothing abusive, God forbid. And just remember, marriage is tough. Marriage is tough. It's not easy. It's easy to get married. It's not easy to stay married. So there's so many tips out there on marriage, what to do and what not to do. First of all, we have to understand that why does a couple doubt their marriage, right? A couple doubts their marriage. You may be, as a woman, married to your husband, and now you're wondering, he may not be for me. There's so much about him that needs to change, that has to change, that I can't stand, a woman may think, and maybe we're not meant for each other. These are the thoughts may run in our heads. So the right answer is that now is the time for each of the spouses, the husband and the wife, now is the time for them to put themselves a little bit aside and give their all to their marriage. So this video is geared towards the ladies, but in essence, in general, it's talking about this idea where if you got married, you're meant to be for each other. If God put you under the wedding canopy, under the chuppah, as we Jewish people say it, then that means you are meant to be for each other, that God doesn't make mistakes. And if there's some things about him that I don't like, then that means he's going to make me great. I need to challenge myself in a way where I'm growing, when I'm getting out of my comfort zone and becoming the wife I'm meant to be. Okay, so it is not, this doesn't mean negating yourself, putting your needs last, being like a doormat, bowing down to every beck and call. This doesn't mean that. It means acknowledging that I married a man who, the man who I'm supposed to marry, who is going to perfect me, who I'm going to embrace in every way, in the character traits, in lifestyle, in circumstances. And this is hard. Absolutely, it is hard. However, knowing that this person is perfect for me, it is easier to fall into that role of trying to be the best wife I can be. Okay. So the deficiencies in the spouse are opportunities for us to become better, to become more, to become the wife we are meant to be. So, but this is important, a little disclaimer here, that this is not to say, this is not for you to say to your spouse, to your husband, you know, listen, I'm supposed to be the wife I am, and you're supposed to grow from my negative character traits. So we don't want to turn that card over to them. We are meant to do our part in this world, our part in our marriage. And remember, when you do your all, that person becomes a better partner in your marriage, right? Changes. We don't seek to change, but this is a beautiful formula that when you're doing your all and you're not expecting, which we'll talk a little further down the video, your marriage actually blossoms into the marriage it's meant to be: beautiful, holy, and happy. Okay, so I'm going to share with you 5 ways to transform your spouse's deficiency into personal growth. Okay, number 1, make yourself compatible to your spouse. Okay, So it's as though you're drilling holes in yourself. Drilling holes. What does that mean? Your spouse is going to fill that void inside of you. It may feel uncomfortable to change for your spouse. It may feel uncomfortable to do things the way they like to do it, right? But this is actually going to enhance your marriage and make you a better person, a better spouse. We have to change our habits, desires, and plans for the sake of our husband. And the fact that you chose your spouse, you chose your husband as a spouse for life, proves that you have so many things in common, proves that you respect him very much and value him very much. So this is true even though at this moment your focus may differ, and your focus may be on how different you are. But this intense focus on the differences can be changed by altering our expectations. So number one, we have to make sure we internalize and understand that we need to make ourselves compatible to our spouse with the knowledge that we're meant for each other, and I have to slowly change for my spouse. Okay, because that's going to make me a great wife, the best wife ever, right? The best wife in my marriage. Okay, number two. Number two is see the positive in the differences. It is challenging to see the positive in the differences because you didn't marry yourself, right? You married your spouse who is very different from you. Apparently, you grew up in a very different household. And however, we have to remember that it is precisely the differences in a couple that enables them to make better decisions and create beauty and harmony in the family. There are many differences between husbands and wives, between men and women. One of the most greatest differences is men seem to be, in general, very fixated on a goal. They have a goal, they want to get it done, right? When you talk to your husband about so many things and he's like, okay, where's dinner? He's hungry, but he's not focusing on anything else you're saying. And we take it wrong. We say, oh, he doesn't care about me. He's not paying attention to me. I'm not important to him. He doesn't want to make time for me. That's not true. Your love language as a wife may be that you need attention. You appreciate words and compliments and quality time. But he's fixated on a goal right now. He just wants to eat. Once he eats, that's when he can focus on other things. And you are very important to him. So we have to understand that. Why is this such a positive difference? First of all, men usually like to get things done, right? We women, I think, more of a holistic approach to life where we look at the end result, the benefit of everyone, the bigger picture, right? While men focus on, okay, why can't we do this? We have to get this done, this one part of the goal. And so they're focused on getting that one part of the goal. So this could be a positive and a negative. A woman may think, oh, he's not paying attention to the bigger picture. He doesn't care about me. He does care, right? And a woman cares about the bigger picture. So it is a man's part to, of course, understand that as well. But this video is geared towards the women. Let's say he's very determined as a husband, right? One negative quality. He's very determined. He may have an aggressive nature and he gets things done. And she's very relaxed. Before she thinks about the next thing, he's already 10 steps ahead. And that could be very stressful for a woman. How do we look at our spouse's trait positively? We can say to ourselves, well, wow, he really puts me on point. He's able to help me manage time better. He's organized. He sets rules in the house that the kids need to honor and respect. And that could be a definite plus. And while she's probably thinking about what next to do, she also means, well, she's thinking about the bigger picture. Her character traits are different. So just because they're different doesn't mean they're bad. So we have to understand that. Number 3 is conceal his flaws with love. Everybody has flaws, right? Everybody has things that they're not good at, weaknesses. We as the wives, we cannot blast the flaws of our husband to other people, especially towards our children, especially toward relatives. They're always supposed to be shining in our eyes. If your husband is not shining in your eyes, then you have to look at more positive qualities about him. And every good guy, every good husband, if he's not abusive, if doesn't have any bad habits, with drinking and anything that's obsessive, he's a good guy. Okay, so what we want to say is that we want to conceal his flaws with love, right? If he, for example, wakes up really late and your kids are like, Mom, you're doing so much, Papa's not even up yet. That's not because he's lazy. You don't want to say this to the children. You want to say, Papa works so hard at night, doing so much, he really needs to sleep at night. In the morning, he needs to sleep a little more. Or let's say your husband took upon a goal upon himself and he really wants to do this, and your children see that he gave up because he took care of so many other things. I had this and that, and Papa took more things upon himself at work, and he realizes that he needs to adjust. So because kids really learn by example. You can lecture your child from now until tomorrow, but if you don't act as the example, model to your children, then you know what's going to happen. It's just going to be futile. It's like talking to the wall. Kids learn by example. So we want to conceal his flaws with love. We want to conceal the weaknesses of our husband with love. And it says in Proverbs, over all sins, cover with love, right? We are always changing as human beings, so we're not static. So when we put a stamp on somebody, especially our husband, you're lazy, you're not good enough, you're loud, you're not attentive, you're not hardworking, that puts a stamp. And we don't want to do this, especially towards our husband. We want to always focus on the bigger picture as the woman, to build a harmony, filled house, happy house, loving house, accepting and respectful, right? That is our holy home. Okay. If you have something to discuss about your husband, you know that he has certain flaws, and you've said it gently to him, and it's still, he's just doing it anyway. Maybe if it's really, really bothering you, you could talk to a family rabbi or a marriage counselor, someone who can really help you. But this should be a private matter. It shouldn't be in public. Okay. Number 4. Number 4 is lowering our expectations, right? If your husband is always doing this and never that, and you've asked the person, please, ask your husband, please, can you do this for me? And he's not able to change, right? He's not able to come home on time at a certain time for dinner. Then you just have to tell yourself, this is my new reality. I have to adjust it. This is not, a rule that's just broken in marriage. That's it. We're not for each other. It's divorce because, God forbid, and you don't think I'm important and you're messing up my whole schedule. No, it's just this is what he can't change at this time. This is your new reality, right? Or if your husband sets a certain budget and you like to spend so much, I know it's hard, but this is our new reality, right? You have to understand that. So as an added benefit, after the wife has actually changed her new reality and accepted his, the deficiencies that he has, he'll realize that, wow, she's accepting it with love and she's not judging me and she's not criticizing me. I'm going to try to help her more. I'm going to try to do things her way more. But that has to come from the husband. If it comes from the wife, it's as though he is listening to his mother, right? I've said many times in my workshops, in my classes, that we don't want to be the mother, the teacher to our husbands, because it has to come from him. That's his masculine nature. And we, as women, are attracted to that nature. When it comes from him, and it's not following directions from the mother, right? It's from him. We have to know that he will eventually be more accepting of what you want and will actually do things your way if you do it the right way. Okay? Remember, a wise woman built her home. So there was a story where Rabbi Leah teaches some good advice. His wife caused him so much grief, a lot of grief, and he wanted to buy her something as a gift. So he brought her a gift and wrapped it up nicely with love in his heart and gave it to her. A Rav said to him, but it causes you so much pain. But Rabbi here answered, it's enough that they raise our children and keep us from sinning. In other words, he lowered his expectations to two things. She keeps me from sinning, and that it's enough that they raise our children. She's a good mother. She's my wife, and she's the mother of my children. That's enough. Everything else my wife does, I can tolerate. Those were his two expectations for his wife. And we also need to look at our husband's flaws, just 2 flaws, and really try to deal with it. I know it's hard. You know, working on our marriages is very difficult. Divorce rate is so high nowadays. It's so easy to get married, but it's so hard to stay married, watering that garden. But remember, if Hashem puts you under that wedding canopy, you're meant to make it work, and you'll be a greater person after that. Number 5 is see the most important thing. Remember, we are living with the idea of the bigger picture. We want to create a loving home for our family. So let's say somebody's late, or your husband forgot to buy something after work, or your husband forgot to call you and remind you about something. So all of these things are petty. They're not important. And you realize, as long as I have harmony in my home, I can let a lot of things go. And it's seeing life, seeing your marriage for why it's so important. What's important about the marriage? That we stay together, that we're an example to our children, that we raise a beautiful home. We raise a home of love and respect and unity. And yes, every single family has challenges. Every single family has arguments and tensions. Of course, we all do, and stresses. However, that should be the goal. The goal is to have harmony in the home, harmony and love. And in this way, it's actually going to help us just ignore so many petty trivialities and small nuances. And it's going to be easy to do that. All of these 5 ideas are from Rabbi Zamir Cohen in his book, Happily Married, The Complete Guide to the Successful Jewish Marriage. So this is the book I used. However, one more idea I want to share with you comes really from Rabbi Binyamin Yochanan. And he said, you know, when a couple is trying to make a decision, I'm paraphrasing what he said, and they're trying to make a decision, what's good for who? Whoever it pains the most, that decision should be honored, right? So if it hurts your spouse that you're doing this, maybe you should do things this way. So I hope these ideas are very helpful to you. May we have holy, blessed, happy marriages. Leah Abramov, Being and Becoming. Awakening awareness of your greatness and potential.